Hello everybody, I'm Lorenzo Marchessi and I'm here right at the beginning of this video we're about to watch to remind you to subscribe to my channel. It's very helpful if you do, and also please tell your friends, your family members, and share it if you can. Love to hear your comments and feedback, but just want to make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching and we'll see you soon. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second show of this brand new show I've created here called Making Entertainment. I'm your host, Lorenzo Marchessi, and this is a show where I get behind the scenes of various productions, both stage, Zoom, anything that's going on locally that's being put together to be presented in the future. Today, I have Sebastian Munoz's group, which is putting on a very special show called the Leprechaun Kids Festival. Basically, it's original writing, wonderful performances as such. Sebastian, thank you and everybody here for joining me tonight. Can you tell us a little bit about what this is about?
Well, thank you, first of all, Lorenzo, for having us here. I'm Sebastian Munoz. I'm the artistic director at Force of Nature Productions. And along with Mr. Evan Boffman, who's here, we're the creators of the play festivals, and last year we started with the Halloween Play Festival, and then we brought it back by popular demand for the Leprechaun Kids Play Festival. And it was an idea that came out of our virtual readings, and really Evan was very kind to share, because he's a teacher, and I can let him speak to that a little bit more, but something that he does with his students to create prompts and ideas for them to write original plays, and we decided to expand that and on that, and hence the Halloween Play Festival, and now the Leprechaun.
Very cool. Okay, let's say hello to everybody that's joining us today. Georgianne, Randy, Charlotte, Susan, Corey, Gloria, Evan, Kyle, Tom, and Jennifer. Thank you everyone for doing this. So let's start off with little introductions for everybody. If you could tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got involved with Force of Nature, and what your part in this production is. Let's start with Georgianne.
Well, hello. I'm Georgianne George, and I'm an actress. I've been acting on stage since I was 7 because I was too shy to speak in public. And so they put me on stage because that would make me act out, I guess. And I got involved with Force of Nature because Sebastian asked me to, because I kept knowing about shows that they were doing and it never worked out. And then all of a sudden it worked out and I got to be a company member, and it's been a really good decision. For Halloween, I am acting, and then thanks to Sebastian, I've been able to start directing a little bit. And so I'm going to be directing a play in the Halloween Play Festival as well.
Very cool. Randy?
Hey, everybody. My name is Randy Marquis. I have been acting since high school. Started with a musical that I auditioned for primarily because I was dating an actress, actually, and wanted to spend more time with her. And I auditioned. I got a part. She did not. She actually wound up working backstage. And you know, she parted from my life, but my love for performing in theater has stuck around ever since. I came to Force of Nature actually through the chapels. Corey's husband, Jerry, and Corey were a driving force behind another theater group called Three of a Kind, which did a number of shows in North Hollywood and Hollywood over the years. Unfortunately, that theater company is no longer with us, and Jerry and Corey started doing some work with Sebastian. And a couple of years back, when they were getting ready to do one of our rushes, which you're probably familiar with, it was a Christmas-themed, holiday-themed one, Jerry contacted me at that point and said, "Hey, we're looking for actors. really have to audition. Just kind of come, show up. You're going to throw you in a hat essentially, and you're going to get thrown together with a writer and a director and a cast, and come play with us. Basically, was the pitch. And I'm like, how can I turn that down? Especially since my wife was out of town at the time, and I was watching my kids. And so when I brought that up and said I would have to bring my kids with me, both Jerry and Sebastian were like, yeah, sure. So, and then I've since brought them on as actual performers and writers and directors and everything too. So it's been a true family affair. So I love being a member. I love being a part of this group. They're my theater family, and I don't know what I'd do without them.
Very nice. Very nice. How about Charlotte?
Hi, I'm Charlotte Cocker. I've been doing theater my whole life. I love theater and writing. It's my passion, so I'm really glad to have found a theater group that's so kind and inviting, and I just love it so much. I found Force of Nature probably a year and a half ago or so. I had a couple of friends performing. I came to check out a show, and I instantly fell in love with it and hopped into the next show that I possibly could, and have been writing and acting with them since. For this particular production, I'm acting as well as the assistant showrunner, which is my first experience doing that with Force of Nature. So I'm learning from Evan and Sebastian, and it's such a pleasure, and I can't wait to see where it goes from there.
Nice. And Susan?
Hello. I started acting after I did a 4-year stint on cruise ships. I was thrown onto the stage on ships. I was the director of the kids program, and I had to do shows all of a sudden because the ships were getting bigger and everything was getting bigger and better. And my uncle was also an actor, so when I came home after my 4 years on ships, I just started jumping into theater back in Ohio. And then I started to miss the warm weather, so I was thinking, where do I go where it's warm, where I can act? And I also, like Randy, got into Force of Nature because I was also a member of Three of a Kind Theater with Jerry and Corey, and joined one of the, I think it was the Valentine's Rush, and I haven't missed a rush since. So I'm excited to be acting in it. Another Force of Nature production. And one thing I love about this company is I love all of our writers, our wee writers, and our regular Rush writers, because they always manage to throw me into the best characters. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Very nice. Corey?
Hello, Corey Chappell. And I've been with Force of Nature for, I think, about 4 years now. I came in a little after my husband did. I primarily direct, though they did get me on screen during our last We Play Festival, which was a lot of fun and something that I'll probably do again at some point because I did enjoy it and it's been a while. I did start my love of theater with a passion for acting, and then it developed into a stronger passion for directing. But it is fun to dabble in the acting realm from time to time. And yeah, I'll be directing for this play festival, and I'm really excited. I got to direct 2 of the pieces for the Halloween festival that the kids wrote, and they were just so, what they bring to the page from their perspective and their point of view it's such a pleasure to get to work on. They just bring kind of a fun innocence and just a different aspect. We get to see the world through a different lens that us jaded adults maybe, don't necessarily recognize as forefront anymore. So it was such a great, just really pleasurable experience. And I'm excited to be able to participate in this one too.
Very nice. Gloria, how about you?
Hi. So I have been acting since I was 12, I think. And I have known Sebastian for going on 7 years now, 8 years, because we met in December for Christmas Carol. So yeah, so it's been 8 years. We met back in ZJU, and then when he branched off, I had to come along and join in the fun. I love this Force of Nature Theater Company with my family, and I absolutely love doing this we festival, because when we act for the kids, it's like it's just the best thing. Like, they're budding writers, and they couldn't imagine it being on stage, and then all of a sudden they see it, and it just such a great feeling.
Nice. And Evan.
Hi there. I'm Evan Boffman. I primarily am a playwright. I got into writing in middle school, and it was not playwriting at first. It was, writing short stories where I had my friends in them and I killed them off, etc. So that's how I got my start writing, and that led off to high school, where I really started, writing more creatively, killing off high school friends. And then I went off to college and got my creative writing degree. And that's where I started branching off, writing not just short fiction, but also poetry and some playwriting. And after college, I moved back to the LA area and really enjoyed the short form, like the 10-minute short plays. So I wrote a few of those, and actually a couple of them were produced by Three of a Kind Theater Company. And that's how I was introduced to the Chapels and to Susan and to Randy years ago. And then I kind of lost contact with them. And I think it was maybe a year and a half ago, another playwriting friend of mine, he was having a show done, Masters of the Dark Realm. And I went to go see that, and it turned out it was being directed by Corey. And I was like, whoa, small world. And that was kind of my introduction to Force of Nature. And I was invited after that to write for the Christmas Rush. And so that was a little over a year ago, and I've been writing for them since. And as far as Leprechaun goes, I am a teacher, like Sebastian had said earlier. So I kind of recruit some of my students to submit their own creative plays, their own stories to the production. So they did that for We Halloween. A few of them have lended their talents for We Leprechaun. And I also am assisting Charlotte and Sebastian with running the whole thing. So
Nice. Kyle, how are you?
I'm doing well now that my microphone is on. And I don't know any of these people, for the record. I've never met them before. No, I started acting a little bit as a kid, and then got into theater when I was in high school, and was hooked immediately, and been doing it ever since. And I I go back to the Three of a Kind Theater Company with Corey, Jerry, Sue, Randy. We go way back. And so I was already watching Force of Nature shows to support those that were in it before me. And then Sebastian simply would not leave me alone about coming to do a show. He's tenacious that way. And so my first show was the Valentine's Rush, the Love Rush. And that just set the ball in motion. And then I can't leave now. I'm stuck. I'm trapped in there forever. But and I got to take part in the Wii Halloween Rush, which was super fun. Again, I love just the prism that these kids, how they see things. It's just refreshing. I think, like Corey said, we're all jaded, and they got so much fun, and I loved it. So I'll be taking part again for Wee Leprechaun. I'll be acting, probably brilliantly, and looking forward to seeing what these amazing kids come up with this time. I really can't wait to see it.
All righty then. Tom, what about you?
Well, let's see. My name's Tom Jones, and I got back into acting after a long hiatus. I had done acting and performing in high school and into college, but when I got married and started a career, I sort of put it on the back burner. And I got reintroduced to it through Andy Schultz at a ZJU performance, and I was cast in one of his shows. And Andy, of course, knew Sebastian and quite well, and so I was sort of introduced to Sebastian, and I auditioned for a role and actually wrote a piece for a Tales from Tomorrow that we did back 4 or 5 years ago. And I drank the Kool-Aid. I've been there ever since. As far as the wee Halloween thing went, I was just so impressed with those kids and their view. And it just amazes me that even at that young age, they sort of have that common link to the rest of humanity as storytellers. And I was just so impressed with them. So, and then as far as the wee Leprechaun, I will be doing, I've decided this time I'm just going to be acting. So, but I'm looking forward to it. Should be fun.
Nice. And Jennifer, how are you?
I'm good. So I knew Sebastian and worked with Sebastian at Zombie Joe's as well. I did a burlesque show for him that was actually an accident. I was actually supposed to do a show for Stephen Alloway, and I showed up at the wrong place because I thought Sebastian was doing the burlesque show. So it was a total accident that he directed me in this burlesque show. And then when he split off to do A Force of Nature, I followed because I think he's a brilliant director. And I've been acting and also teaching. The We Play Festival is important to me because I taught in the public school system with an All the Arts program for 9 years, and I taught in the private school system for coming up on 20 years now. And that's what I've always done, is engage children and share this new art form with them, whether it's the art form of music or whether it's the art form of stage acting or filmmaking. And it's great. It's what I do.
Very nice. I believe I got everybody. So thank you for your introductions. Okay, I've heard in your conversations about this project, I think one of the terms used was the children's prism perspective of what's going on here. So let's start with the basics. In writing this project, how did that start? And this is open to anyone who wants to answer. And what is that prism? What is that? What are you getting from the kids that adults didn't hone in on as far as the writing goes?
Well, well, Evan, as one of the co-creators, can definitely chime in on this. And the thing that really inspired me is when we were doing the virtual meetings last year for Force of Nature, we were just writing original content. We were writing, and then it actually came out of, I think I mentioned that necessity is the mother of invention. And at some point, like, we need some scripts, we need some material. And Evan was very kind enough, you know what, like, I got permission to use some scripts, check these out. And he sent them to me. And there were some of old students, I think, right? Like, there were plays that they had written. And I just assigned them, and they were just hilarious. They're little 3-page scripts. And like, we had the most fun reading them. We just have all these adults playing the most ridiculous characters, and they're hilarious and they're wonderful, and these stories were fabulous. And I think, and I echo what Tom is saying, they're just so simple and basic. And one of the things I appreciated is, like, it needed very little editing, if any at all, because they trimmed the fat. It was like, I'm just telling you the story and you get to it, and there's a beginning, a middle, and end for the most part. But they were just fabulous. So we kept we kept looking forward every week to read more and more of these plays.
Okay, that would be my next question is, what's the age range of these kids that are writing them? And did they truly have like a beginning, middle, and end? Characters with dialogue? Was there like scene descriptions, or were they kind of archetypes? Because I imagine kids see adults as particular things.
Now, I'd like to, I can pass it on to Evan, but I did want to mention, like, none of these plays we actually produced. This was just the inspiration from it, because all the we plays have been all original. They're all brand new plays, but the inspiration came from that, and that's what we liked, and it kind of trickled over into the wee leprechaun, but anyone else chime in on that?
Yeah, I can chime in. So I've taught English and creative writing this is my 15th year now. And unfortunately, there's that overemphasis in public school education on standardized testing. So there's like the emphasis is on that and less on the creativity. So when students are in my classes, I really, when they're in my elective classes, I really try to emphasize writing creatively. So I share my passion that I've had since I was in middle school with them on how to write their own stories, and then that has evolved over time into writing their own plays. So when he said we're reading plays that my students have written, yeah, I've had many students over the years, and I've taught them how to write short plays. So that's
how
that got started.
Again? What ages?
So I teach middle school. So the age range is like 11 to 15. But for we Halloween, we had elementary school students as well. And then we had a high school student, I think, as well, also writing. So.
Okay. So from the writing standpoint I'm trying to understand. So there are some, this is like a collection of short plays, right? First of all.
Yes,
and
an anthology show. Yeah.
Right. And then, so are there writers here? Somebody in this panel here have written something for it? No? Okay.
The kids wrote all of the plays. We just acted and directed them, but the kids wrote all of the words.
And Evan being a teacher is really good at designing it's like an assignment. So he gives them certain parameters, the characters they need to have, a setting, choices, so they don't have to all do the same play. But he gives them choices to start from, and then the kids go from there. And I teach too. I teach fourth graders, so they're like 8 and 9 years old, and they entered and wrote plays, and they did a great job. Because they could take off from those parameters that Evan gave them and just be creative, and they don't have any blocks of what can't be. So of course there can be a ghost, or of course there can be something flying, which we would say, oh, we can't do that on Zoom. They don't care. We'll make something fly. It'll be fine. And because Evan makes it such a directed and a structured assignment, it makes it easy for them to just take off and be creative.
Okay.
And from an acting standpoint, but when we did We Halloween, I said this several times to my directors and my cast. I'm like, did an 8-year-old actually write this? I mean, it's that good. I was blown away. I think our youngest was 5, and how I couldn't imagine doing that at that age. So they're very. I mean, I know that they are completely open-minded. There's no boundaries when it comes to their writing. But with that, on top of the fact that you honestly, if someone told you, if someone didn't tell you who wrote it, you might think an adult did it. That's how good these kids are.
And let me clarify, you said 5 years old, not 5th grade, right?
Yes, my
wow.
son was 6 at the time, 6. So first group.
Yeah. Okay, so how many submissions were on the table to use, and then how many are actually in the final festival?
You want to answer that, Evan?
Yeah. So We Halloween was our first foray into this, because my background as a writer is actually as a horror writer. So earlier when I said I killed off my friends and my stories, that's because that's my wheelhouse, is horror writing. So Sebastian had approached me saying, what if we do like a spooky kids play writing festival? And I thought, that's amazing. That's great, because that's like totally my interest. And I know a lot of kids are into spooky things too. So, sorry, my son's whispering to me. Okay.
I see the artwork behind you too.
Train of thought here. But anyhow, sorry. What was the question again? My son is distracting me.
I was just noticing the artwork behind you as well.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I have two kids. Creepy stuff. We support creepy spookiness in my household, certainly. So as I think the question was, how many submissions? So what I did, like Georgianne said, was I kind of made it an assignment. So I teach, so I made it an assignment for my 100+ students. So I got 100+ different plays there, and then Georgianne shared it with her school. I'm not sure how many different schools it's actually sent to, but there were well over 100 different plays that I had to look over for Wee Halloween. So
Okay, so for this production, did you get the same amount, about 100?
for this Wee Leprechaun, not quite as many, but still upwards of 70. Yeah. So
And how many are in the final festival, or will be?
Charlotte, how many did we end up with? Because Charlotte's our co-producer on this, or our assistant co-producer, and how many did we end up? Was it a 10 or 11? We're trying to get a final count, right?
Yeah, I think we ended up with 10 for this one.
Okay. So you've got your 10 scripts. Now, at this stage, have been cast? No? I
So-
see yeses and no's.
Well, so the deadline to have the play submitted was this last Monday. So right now, between Charlotte, Evan, and I, we had a meeting on Monday to make the selections of the plays, and some of them are in various different stages. Some of them might need some adjustments. So it's about making those adjustments, communicating with the parents, getting the releases. So the casting process starts today because everything is. We're about 90% complete with the final selections. We have our selections. We're just waiting on some logistic things from the parents and the kids, and the casting process starts today. And the directors and the cast will have their assignments by Friday or the latest Saturday for our first production meeting and read through on Monday.
So the directors don't have which script they're using yet.
Part of the fun is making it a surprise for them. They get it 2 to 3 days before they go into it, and they'll find out who the cast is. So there's a little element of our Rush Play Festival in it because it's like a nice surprise ahead of it. So they can't wait to get their hands on the scripts and see what kind of magical worlds they're going to create or direct.
Okay, the directors that are here in this panel right now, how are you preparing for this? I mean, obviously you may have done this before, but
Right.
Go ahead.
You don't really prepare, you just get what you get, and then you can take it and run with it. So you don't know who's in your cast, you don't know what your script is about, you don't know anything other than you're going to be directing. And we also know that they're short. We know that they're only about 5 to 6 minutes each, so they're not very lengthy. But yeah, you just wait to get it, and then we all read through it together on a Zoom format like this so that we can all hear it for the first time. And then we'll have a couple of weeks to have rehearsals and work on it before we put it up for the world to see.
Okay, now is the cast assigned at that point, or is the director reading the script and saying, "Oh, I want Jennifer. Oh, I want Susan. Oh, I want Georgianne"? How does that work? Cast.
It's assigned to us. We don't cast. The production team of Sebastian and Charlotte and Evan, they'll pair casts and directors together the way that they see best for the shows. They know all of the talent, so they'll put those teams.
Okay. So
Yeah, there's definitely an aspect of our rush, type of thing happening here. I know our process is a little bit unusual in the way we approach doing short pieces like this, because a lot of the decision making is done at the producer level for certain things, and or by happy chance in some cases. So when you talk about preparation like you normally would with a script and sit down and kind of figure out your beats and your blocking and a lot of the things that you would do as a director, you can't really do right away for something like this. And obviously being a Zoom format, some of those things are, less of an issue
I think also
anyway.
because it's Force of Nature is such a family, when people get assigned to a play, everybody's excited and everybody's a team. So as soon as we start doing our first read, people are making choices And as soon as we have our first meeting, everybody's like, I have an idea, I have an idea. So the work is almost done for you as a director already, because you have such good actors who are ready to do anything. So.
Okay. Tom, what about you? The actor.
As an actor, I'm going to be approaching this as I would any other role. I'm going to be looking for character beats. I'm looking for plot points. I mean, I'm going to treat it just like any script I would ever receive, because I owe it to the writer to try to deliver as closely as I can what their intent was. I would say that there's probably a subtext of remembering that it's written by a child, a young person. And so I think in terms, and when I directed We Halloween, this is kind of what I told the cast as well. I said, remember that you're looking at it through a different worldview. And it might be much more exciting, it might be much more mysterious to them. But I think as an actor, it sort of brings a nice subtext to it when you're just trying to get back to how would I have looked at this when I was that age? But it's still a very serious process, because again, as I say, you owe it to the writer, to deliver their intent.
Wow. And Jennifer, you're directing, you said?
I didn't say because I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Sebastian asked me, and I said, I will do whatever you need. Just plug me in. Oh, I'm doing both? Okay.
Oh.
I guess I'm acting and directing.
Okay. So you get Jennifer, you get your script, and you kind of see your characters and stuff, and then Tom's assigned to you. So how do you direct somebody like Tom there, who's so involved and colorful? And
how do I direct Tom? Oh my gosh. Well, Tom and I have worked together for so long. And again, it goes back to what Georgianne was saying, is it's a repertory company. So everybody has at least experienced somebody else as a writer or as a director or as a co-actor on stage. So there's really no issue of, oh my gosh, is this team going to work? What am I going to do? If I were going to direct Tom, it would be super, super easy, because I know we're on the same page. And again, what he said, it's about making sure that the kids' image, whatever they had in their brain, is something that we can deliver at least in some way for them, because that's what's exciting for them.
Wow. Gloria, you want to chime in on this?
Well, yeah, hopping on that, doing what kids for kids. In the Halloween one, I was acting in 2 pieces. So one piece, I was a know-it-all, book smart kid who wasn't afraid of werewolves and pretty much threw the werewolf into a tree by a magic spell. And then the other one, I was a mummy, a mummy son. And I wrapped myself up in bandages and I did the whole deal. And it's just, these kids, that was the world that they wanted to create. It was a mummy boy and his mummy mom, and all of a sudden this jack-o'-lantern came into life, and like he was destined to help keep Halloween alive. Like, it's just the things that these kids come up with is just so much fun to just give into. And being with this theater company, I'm so excited to work with everyone. Like, I've been shuffled with different people, and there's still some people in the company I haven't actually acted with yet together, but I love like the idea of just being able to act with everyone and mixing it up. And I can't wait to find out who my castmates are. So it's going to be so much fun.
So is it also a group effort for everybody when it comes time to deciding, like you were saying, being a mummy, the costuming, say the green screen backgrounds or the backgrounds? Is that all part of that all discussion, or is it, how does that work out? The look.
I would say it's a highly collaborative process. Obviously every director is different, every cast is a little bit different, and so there are definitely going to be differences depending upon the way the director might like or choose to approach a given script. If they have a vision of some kind, perhaps they may want to bring that to the table, and that's welcomed. But we definitely encourage collaboration and the collaborative process between the director and their cast in all of the creative aspects, whether that's, character work and character point of view, or costuming, or makeup, or backgrounds. And of course, we're all working with whatever limitations we have too, because we're staging these in our own homes. So if we don't have a prop, or if we don't have access to a given costume or something, we have to kind of figure those things out. And to just piggyback what people were saying, the great thing about this company is everyone is super supportive. So we can usually come together and find solutions to something if the original idea maybe didn't pan out.
Very cool. And Charlotte, you had mentioned yourself as the showrunner and new to this. You're learning from Sebastian and Evan, is what you said, I believe. So
Yeah.
as a showrunner, what are you responsible for? What kind of makes you nervous, and what are you looking forward to?
Well, I guess I'm really looking forward to learning from Sebastian and Evan. I mean, Sebastian is just such a great director, and I saw the shows before I'd even started working with Force of Nature. So I think just having any opportunity to kind of learn firsthand is it's so exciting for me. I typically write. That's my background in act. So it's really cool to get to see another side of it. I'm also acting as well, but it's been super fun going through these scripts with them, going over like the process and casting and that kind of thing. And it's really opened my eyes to, how much more goes on backstage compared to when you're just acting and you get sent your script and you're like, okay, cool. There's so much more that goes into it. And, it's just such a pleasure being a part of this and, reading the writing from the kids. And it's been a total blast. And I can't wait to see, the finished product. There's so much more, at stake when you're, kind of making those decisions. And, I'm really glad that Sebastian and Evan are allowing me to, really put my input about which scripts and what to do. And, it's been super fun, and I'm so glad for the opportunity.
Wow. Sebastian, wow. Okay, so let me clarify this. Is this live to tape to be sent out, as one recording, or are you doing it live on the air at the time?
It's live. In staying true in the spirit of a live performance, they are live performances, but they are recorded live performances. So there's really no cuts, it's what we do is we give them all an opportunity to get 2 to 3 full-on recordings that they would like, and then they have to choose one. So it's not like, oh, we get the best from each one. As the directors, when we sit down and do the recordings, they only have about an hour block in which they have an opportunity to record it 3 times, and out of that, then they have the decision collectively with their cast of saying, hey, that's the one I want to use. That's the one. So, and that's how we are able to present it. Like, yeah, this is it's a recorded but a live performance, nevertheless.
And when is this going out? When is this going out to the public?
March 19th and 20th.
March 19th and 20th. And I'm assuming it'll be, once it's out, like your other productions, will be on your YouTube channel, right?
They will be available, correct.
Yes, because that's a good place to go see some of the stuff, especially if you want to get some good local talent in that theater field. So,
it's glorious.
Absolutely. Kyle, tell us what you're looking forward to.
As an actor, I'm just looking forward to seeing what kind of characters that I'm gonna get to play with this. And with Wee Halloween, I got to play 3 different characters, and the kids really make it easy because they're just so straightforward with their writing. Like, this is who the character is. This is what they are, and you go, okay, well, I know what to do with this.
Okay,
And they're very honest with their
Give me
writing.
an example of that. That's someone else had mentioned that they're straightforward. So when you're looking at these characters, what are they writing? I mean, are you talking like this is a policeman, or are we talking, what are we talking about? Straightforward.
Oh, let me think of one. I got to play a refined zombie who in a play where they talk about like the rules in horror films. You don't say, I'll be right back. You don't do this, you don't do that. And they're all trying to teach this guy, like, no, you don't do that. And so this is a very like refined, uppity zombie that's like trying to, help teach them things. And it's just like only a kid would come up with that. Like that truly was like, yeah, this is kids writing. Um, but it's just so fun. Um, what was the other one?
You're a vampire.
Yes, I was a vampire that runs a hotel, and he also too was kind of like refined and uppity in that same way. It was just like, okay, I'm gonna write a vampire, but I'm not gonna make him the stereotypical evil vampire. I'm going to make him this completely different personality that you've literally never seen a vampire written like this before in any movie ever or any TV show. So yeah, their creativity is just there's no bounds, there's no limits. So
Okay, are the a majority of these pieces obviously funny, very comical? Are there any dramas or?
There were some, especially with the submissions. There's some things that were incredibly good, and I think even Evan can speak to that. They were really good, but they were really gory. But they all have a set because of the innocence of it and the way in which they approach the stories. They just come out funny. They all have an element of really there's a lot of comedic opportunities within the innocence and the straightforwardness, like Kyle was saying. I think there was a bit with Corey and Randy. They're out celebrating their their anniversary. Oh, it's starting to rain. Oh, look, there's a castle. Let's walk to it. And it's just very direct. It's not sugar. And all of a sudden, boom! Now they're in a castle, and there's Kyle welcoming them like with this vampire. And now they're in the castle, and Georgiana's the bellhop receptionist, and she's a ghost receiving them.
The dumbest ghost ever.
It's fabulous. And like Susan got to play that werewolf like opposite with Gloria, and all the stuff that Susan went to transform her house. I'm very fortunate to work with some of the most amazing, talented, committed, loving artists, hands down everywhere. Because to the lengths in which everyone went to transform their houses and their families, God bless their families for putting up with the craziness of turning their houses into like cabins in the woods, and they're howling, and they're amazing people. So these scripts are in excellent hands with these guys. But Susan can tell you about being a werewolf and howling at the moon.
Okay, Susan, I got to hear this.
I've had the pleasure of playing a werewolf that was after some children in the woods, and Gloria was one of the children who ended up outsmarting me. I ended up in a tree, I think, somewhere up in the sky, and it was just. I just love the creativity, and I love the fact that I got to be a werewolf. And one thing that's also been fun too is just being able to rehearse with people that are not in the same room as you, and having to like look, depending on what your director wants, just like looking over. I was literally acting to my dresser at one point, and I had to do all of my lines toward that, and then the other side I had to act towards my window and pretend that person was there. But and then as Sebastian just alluded to, like having to howl in my house. I have a dog, so when I have to howl, I have to worry about the dog. So yeah, it's been quite an experience, and I'm just so thankful that we have so many talented kids out there. Who knew? So much talent for us. It's very exciting.
Wow. And so with this particular production, nobody other than I imagine Sebastian and Charlotte and Evan know the scripts that have been chosen, right? Okay, so everyone else is kind of in the dark to what to expect. So Evan, was this all themed with the whole Leprechaun Ireland kind of thing? Is that that was the assignment?
Yes. So for this one, every play has to have a leprechaun in it, and then so that is a guarantee that every single play has a leprechaun in it. And then there were other things like there were a list of 5 different settings, and so the student would choose one. There are different props. Student would choose one. There are other, like, who would be your secondary characters? So the students would choose one from a list, et cetera, et cetera. There were certain words, like we said, one of these words has to be in the title, and things like that. So it was kind of like students are choosing from the list and then creating a narrative, like figuring out how to include those elements into a narrative. So.
Okay. I got to find out, is there anything, and let's go one by one. Is there anything that you are, I don't want to say scared or makes you nervous about approaching this coming, this event next month? Like Sebastian, what are you nervous about?
And actually, this came up. As much nervous as I am thrilled that we're doing it and we have the opportunity to do it. But I guess if I had to say something that's concerning is one thing that I learned when the kids were watching these, they know if we didn't do it right. And like, hey, I didn't write that word. I didn't. So I thought I worked with some incredibly strict writers. These kids are relentless. So you gotta get it right. Like, wait, that wasn't the word. I didn't put that "the" in there. So it's getting it right, and then making sure that we're accurate on that. I think what makes me the most nervous.
Okay,
they know.
Georgianne?
I'm really excited because being a teacher, I love to see kids being creative. And I remember that on the Wee Halloween, there were some kids who got their plays presented, who kind of struggle. And so this was a big achievement for them. And grandmas and aunts and uncles got to see it on YouTube. And I had a family from my school whose whole family in Taiwan watched the show. And so for me, it was more like just an exciting and emotional thing. And I just can't wait to get started. I keep going like, when do we start again? Oh yeah, on my calendar. So I know that Sebastian's right. They do go like, well, wait, I didn't put a TH there. Or I didn't put that word there. But it's okay. They're still excited to see their words.
Very cool. Randy?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly echo the excitement part of it. If I was nervous about anything in particular, I think it is I want to do right by these kids. I want to honor their point of view because it is unique in many ways. And the best example I can give is in the Halloween play that I did last time around, which I performed in. I was a dad, which was a real stretch on the casting side of things. My daughter actually played my daughter in it as well. But this dad was incredibly frightened of going into this graveyard, right? The roles were very reversed. The daughter was very brave and the dad was very scared. And for me, it was making sure that I achieved that level of authenticity to that fear for the kid, for the playwright, because as an adult actor, being whatever method or whatever it is that you approach it from, you wouldn't probably ever feel that genuine fear going into a graveyard, but you want that to come across because that's such an important part of the point of view from the writer. So, and obviously I always feel like I have the most amazing directors helping me get there, but sometimes there's a little bit of nervousness from me making sure that I do right by these kids in their scripts.
Very nice. Charlotte?
Yeah, I'm super excited, more than nervous. I think if there's one thing that, even slightly comes to mind, it's a matter of, making their dream come to life. Of course, these kids wrote in like, sliding down rainbows and unicorns and that kind of thing. And it's like, we only have so much to work with in terms of like a Zoom camera and our background setting and stuff. So, I think that, the directors and actors we can definitely, make their little scripts into what they dreamt of, and I think we can definitely do justice by it. So you know, I think, you know, they have very big dreams with these scripts, and I really want to make sure that, you know, when they see it come to life on the screen, it's what they had in mind.
Wow, Corey?
Yeah, kind of on those same lines where the biggest, fear or nervousness would stem again from, disappointing any of the kids. I would want to make sure that we're able to, like I said, kind of breathe life into these scripts and let them see what their vision from their head into the screen, given our limited capacity to work in the Zoom format. Especially nowadays, I feel like kids have so much at their fingertips with, tablets and whatever's, and everything's so on demand for them, not like when we grew up where we had to wait for it to come on at 6:30. You couldn't see it any other time. You had to wait for it to be there. These kids get everything now so on demand that that's my biggest nervousness is just not meeting that expectation. And so I really feel like when we did the last one, I felt more nervous having to direct a child's script than I have ever been directing an adult script, because you don't want to disappoint them. You want to live up to what they had envisioned when they wrote the piece.
Wow.
And speaking of, I know that Mason's kind of popped in and out. Randy was just talking about being in his play. Did Mason feel, I don't know, was he happy with the overall result of the play that he wrote? Is he there?
Yeah, so my son wrote the piece that Randy and his daughter Lilia were in. He is too shy to show himself, but I know that he was very happy. I know that the play that he had written for Wee Halloween was kind of like him making fun of me, where he had like the dad who was like scared of everything, and the child was brave. So I know that he thought that was very well done, and he thought he was very entertained to see the dad being scared, because he imagined that is what I would be like, I guess, if I were afraid of graveyards. So yeah, it's very cool. Yeah.
Very cool. This is your son's subconscious talking to you. You know that, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Gloria, how about you?
I would say I definitely am worried about making those kids proud, because that's like seriously just finding out like what they thought of the Halloween festival that we did, our little pieces that they did. That was like, I was so excited to hear what they thought. Like that was all I wanted to know. I didn't care what anyone else said. I just wanted to know what my little writer had to say about what our piece looked like, and that's I'm so excited and nervous to make them proud. That's really what I want to do.
Very nice. So Evan, are you scared of anything?
No, I'm not scared of anything. I like everyone has said, I have full confidence in the actors and the directors, and having worked with Sebastian before on Wee Halloween, like I know that we're gonna get this done. Charlotte's an amazing writer herself, and I know she's gonna be a great contributor to this whole process. So I think it's gonna be really fun. I'm really excited for people to see these scripts. We've got a wide array of humor and fantasy, and like a couple of them are even a little dark, which is so it's gonna be a wide variety, I think, of Leprechaun plays. I definitely think each one goes to a place that maybe you don't expect. So
it's fine. I don't know. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Evan or Charlotte, you want to just as a teaser, you want to read them the names of the plays, the titles?
Sure. You want all of them, or?
Let me just make an observation. When Evan was saying what he was just saying, the dark and all that, I can see some of the actors' eyes went, you're like, ooh.
Let's give them the first 5. Let's see.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't do them all. I don't want to know them all yet.
Okay, 5. Okay. We have Lucky Charms, Missing Pot of Gold Coins, Rainbow with No Gold, The Pot of Gold, and The Rich and Lucky Leprechaun. Woohoo.
Okay, I'm in. I'm in. Okay, Susan, anything that kind of makes you a little bit nervous?
Aside from getting phone calls from neighbors, no. But I'm like Evan. I'm not nervous. I trust my company. I trust these kids.
Okay. Jennifer, since you know you're doing a little of both.
Well, as a director, I mean, I get the script and I'm saying, okay, how am I going to make this happen? How am I going to make a lightsaber fight happen between two people in two boxes in two different houses? How am I going to make blood fall from one box out the nose of one actor and onto the head of the next actor in the box below? And there is always, because of all of these technical issues, there's always something that's going to not pan out, and that's always an anxiety. How am I going to structurally make this happen?
Okay. And you said you're acting in it too? Or what was it? What was it too?
Yeah, I guess I'm acting in it too. That doesn't concern me at all.
Okay.
That's the easy part.
Okay. Tom, how about you? Anything make you a little nervous?
I think I'm going to kind of echo Charlotte here in that really what you're worried about, I think, is what I'm worried about. And it was the same with We Halloween, is you want to just make sure that, you know, how can I want the kids to be proud of what we do. I want them to go, yes, that's my play. I did that. And I'm not afraid of it, but that's my mission, is to deliver exactly what that writer envisioned, and I'm excited to do it.
Nice. Kyle, what do you think? What's making your knees shake?
From a performance or from our end of things, not really anything. I trust our directors, the production team, all these people seriously know what they're doing, and we've done it before. To echo the sentiments of just about everybody else here, it was when we did We Halloween, it's all about trying to get it right for the kids that wrote these pieces. I don't want them disappointed. Like, oh, they ruined my play. I don't want it to be a bad experience. I want it to be a thing. And I had in my head the whole time, I'm like, these kids are going to be watching. Their friends from school are going to be watching. Their parents, their siblings, grandma and grandpa tuning in from wherever. And I want them to be proud. I want them to take away a positive experience that makes them want to continue writing, that says, oh man, I want to keep doing this and writing things. And, I want future writers and theater producers to come out of this. Yeah, I wanted to be a thing where their friends are texting them or messaging going, oh man, your play was awesome. That was so great. I want them glowing from what they get to see. So that's my only thing, is like, please just let us get this right. For them and all their family and friends that are watching.
Wow, that's very cool. Have you with the Halloween one? Did you get feedback from all the writers? Was everybody happy? Very happy? Super happy?
Yeah, the only thing that we got was like, oh, that part was like a little different and adjustments, and I think this was also their first experience as first-time writers and produced playwrights or screenwriters, that the first time they experienced having to be edited or having to be adapted to film or stage. So, but we talked that through, but all the feedback we got was incredibly positive from the kids, from the parents, from the teachers. It was a pretty wonderful experience. Anyone else want to chime in on that?
My writer, I quoted him saying, "It was better than I imagined," and that like made my heart soar.
Well, and one of my little friends was a writer for us had put herself in the play. So one of our actors was actually playing the writer, and she was so excited because she said, "Holly is just like me. She's just like me, and I'm on the screen." And that was a pretty big deal for her. So
Very nice. And Evan, that's got to be inspirational for you to know that you might have sparked that creative, whatever energy in those kids, or a kid or a couple kids, to be a writer, an actor, a director. It's got to be a little bit fulfilling to see that part of it.
Absolutely. I'm a teacher, so like that's definitely the hope, is that you reach at least one kid, right? And since I've been doing this for so long, hopefully I've reached at least one kid. I mean, hopefully it's more than that, obviously, but like my thinking on this is like, this is a thing that I wish had been around when I was a kid. And so I know that there are students in my class, there are kids at other schools who are like how I was when I was a kid. They like to read, they like to write stories. And this is an opportunity for those types of kids to like just let their imaginations fly. And it's not every kid in the world who gets to have their words produced, so I think it's a really cool opportunity. And I know that the kids who participated last time, who were my students, they were happy with what they saw. My son, he wrote his very first play ever. He was very thrilled with what he saw. And I'm very happy that we get to support the creativity of young people. So
Yeah, and just think of the future when they're accepting their Academy Award and they remember that teacher who inspired them, and it's going to be your names. That's got to be a thrill. Anyway, any final words from anybody about the project, about the process?
I'd like to point out just very briefly that the artwork that you see here was created by Charlotte Cocker, who did a fabulous job with this artwork, with the We Leprechaun posters and some other things she's done. Fabulous artwork. And a little surprise thing is that the attention and love that everybody puts here into this is definitely there. I think that's why the stakes are so high. And you heard it around the room, Lorenzo. It's like, we take everything very serious, and with each production, we take a lot of pride and to elevate the production value and the quality of the final product. So that's something that anyone can look at and show, and they could be proud of. So when they're watching in Taiwan with the friends, the grandma, whomever it is, they're really proud of it. So much like the previous Wee Halloween, we have a surprise host, a surprise character that is gonna make their first time appearance here, and the Wee Leprechaun, and Micah Cover is gonna be that individual that you'll see it once it debuts, but he will be participating in the Wee Leprechaun. And
will he be wearing green?
I don't know. You're gonna have to tune in, my friend. You have to tune in. Everybody watching, you have to tune in. And it's gonna feature the amazing musical compositions of Trisha Minty, who's one of our resident members and composers, and she's just absolutely fabulous. And I know if she was able to be here tonight, she would tell you she equally puts a lot of pressure on herself to do justice by all these, and she enhances our productions, every production that we've done, with her beautiful music and compositions, and she's pretty fabulous. And all the pieces will feature some original music by her, written for the pieces.
Wow, individual. Any other shout outs you want to give to people that aren't here that are involved?
Everyone else involved, the entire cast and crew that are not able to be here tonight, but they're going to participate. They'll probably see this afterwards, and they're on for a fun project, for a fun time.
So we're looking at 10 directors, 20, 25 actors. What numbers are we talking about? Okay, cool. All right. Well, all I can say is thank you, everyone, for being here tonight and discussing the show. Sounds exciting. It sounds fun. It also sounds challenging. Jennifer brought up some, the whole direction of where things are coming, and you've got to make the story make sense. And then, of course, you want to make the writers proud and something to wear on their shoulders, so to speak. But anyway, guys, I just want to thank you so much for doing this. This is my second show of Making Entertainment from the Geek Authority. And you guys are fun. You guys are funny, knowledgeable. I think everybody's going to walk away with something. For the kids that are watching this, which hopefully they will be, you want to give any kind of words of wisdom on if they want to be a writer, if they want to be an actor, if they want to be a director? Anybody want
to? Put yourself out there and do it. There's sometimes a reluctance, whether they're shy or nervous or whatever it is, or something that they've just never done before. One of the great things about this company, and not only this company, but in many other circles, is the opportunity that's there. And when an opportunity is presented to you, whatever that is, grab it and do something with it, and no matter how it comes out, you're gonna be proud that you can say, I did that. And who knows, it may spark something in you that turns into, like you said earlier, holding that Oscar someday. So
very cool. Once again, everybody, thank you for being here tonight. For those of you who haven't subscribed, just make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's somewhere here around one of these boxes of everybody. And please check out my other shows that I have. I have the Geek Authority show. That's the one where I actually interview actors, writers, and directors, producers, cosplayers, musicians, authors, all kinds of different, even PR people. I also have the TGAs, the Geek Authority's Mysterious Chamber of Collectibles. That's where I pull out of stuff out of my closet and stuff under the bed and the pillow, things I've been collecting for many years. I also have Unboxing the Geek Authority, where I get new stuff and I open it up in front of you. I see it, you see it for the first time. I have a show called Talk About, TGAs Talk About, where we get together with family and friends. We talk about TV shows like Space 1999, Cobra Kai, the new series, or a very reminiscent show about Disneyland and California Adventure closing of the pandemic. Ended up being a 3-part episode, very emotional, wonderful thing. You should check that out as well. I also have my other show, Reviews, Opinions, and Commentary, where I talk about different subjects, my personal opinions about shows, different things that are happening in the world, so on and so forth. So check those out. Again, don't forget to subscribe. Sebastian, I got to thank you so much for bringing this group together and making all these wonderful people available. And they're so smart. They're so fun and funny and charming. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much, everybody. And let's say bye. Bye for now. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Thank you all.